Hi there, welcome to the Strengths with Joy show. Here we chat with positive psychology practitioners about how they use positive psychology in their work and in their personal life. We also learned and be inspired by real life stories from everyday heroes who are experimenting with positive psychology to empower themselves and the people around them. I'm Joy Leng and I'm a positive hypnotherapist. I'm from Singapore. I'm also known as the Superpower Activator. My joy is in empowering people to celebrate strengths based whole brain living using positive psychology tools and hypnotherapy. This show is a part of the Be Well and Be Strong COVID-19 Free Wellbeing series. Besides Strengths with Joy chat, we also have Facebook Lives for Super Monday, Resilient Wednesday, and Self Care Friday at GMT plus 8, which is Singapore, Malaysia time, 4 p.m. on this page, SuperPact with Joy Method. Super Monday is where we explore how to develop our strengths. So make your Monday superpowered with me. Now, in this pandemic, resilient is the name of the game. So apply science-based research findings into actionable strategies that you can use and share with your family and friends to be resilient together. So let's be pandemic proof together. On Self Care Friday is when we will learn the tools and the techniques that we can use for ourselves whenever we feel stressed. Take responsibility for your own self care and for those under your care. In this show, we chat with positive psychology practitioners and see how they have used and seen positive psychology come alive to support themselves and the communities they serve. We will also chat with brave souls who have rised up to my strengths challenge to discuss their insights in their learnings. Malcolm X said, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And today we're going to talk to one very passionate, positive educator who is preparing our next generation for it. So I'm very happy to present to you my good friend, Mary Lynn, and she is a very passionate, positive educator. I met her through our postgrad in positive psychology studies. And since I have known her, she has never stopped exploring how she can better support the kids under her care and what else she can learn to be a better, positive educator. She's so driven in her sense of mission in her work and so clear in the purpose of her work, educating our next generation. So it is admirable and inspiring to see and to hear her vision for the level of support that she wants to provide for her students. So listen on to how a very passionate positive educator uses positive psychology to support her students flourishing. So don't just listen to Marilyn though, also listen to her student Ming Ming, who will share with us how positive psychology has supported her personal growth. Now, Marilyn, being purposeful to effectively impact lives meaningfully is the driving force that keeps Marilyn's passion elevated. Marilyn has over 14 years of experience over diverse cultures in nurturing and supporting young learners to learn effectively and to succeed in school and beyond. She loves to help individuals to uncover their strengths, develop and grow positively through cultivating a positive and growth mindset. Academically, Marilyn empowers students with a holistic approach that not only equips her students but encourages them to develop positive learning habits. I will leave it to our guest to share more about herself with you. So let me present to you Marilyn. Hi, Marilyn. Welcome. Oops. Let me unmute you first. Okay. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you for inviting me to your show. It is really not just a privilege, but also an honor to share during this time.
Thank you for coming. So let's start on a fun note. Share a fun fact with
Mm.
us. Something that most people doesn't know.
Okay, so I think most people do not know that I love cooking. Mm.
Oh.
So, yes, and personally, I find it so therapeutic and relaxing whenever I try to cook something. Now, the best part is it is not the exact cooking part, but it is the preparation part. So
Oh.
I do enjoy preparing the ingredients, cutting up the vegetables, the onions, the garlics, and whatever that I need to. While I'm preparing, I actually have my classical music at the back as my background music, and it's totally relaxing, totally in the flow when I'm preparing to cook. So this is something that
Wow.
yeah, most people do not know about this.
Nice. So yes, I definitely didn't know that about you, that you like cooking, and I'm very curious, how does a dish that is cooked with the, while the chef is listening to classical music,
Hmm.
I wonder how it tastes like.
Well, for this, I think my husband will be able to share more what he thinks about the cooking then.
Lucky husband. Okay, thank you for sharing that fun fact with us. So, okay, so let's dive in right now. So, Marilyn, can you share with us, how did you get started on your positive psychology journey?
Mm. So it actually started about 6 years ago when I had the privilege to help to coach a group of primary six students to prepare for the PSLE English examination. And as we know, taking this national exam can be stressful and even daunting for most students. So at that time, I thought so long as I am able to help them to excel in their technical knowledge of the subject, students should succeed. But then I realized that through the journey, that it actually takes more than just acing the technical knowledge. So through the journey of helping them, I realized that the academic success of every student actually begins with believing right. And what I meant by that, for example, if a student believes he will excel and consistently believes so, regardless of the challenges that he encounters, he will eventually succeed. On the other hand, when a student thinks otherwise, he actually loses confidence and even without him realizing it. So when students believe right, they start to feel more positively as well. And this leads them to cultivate the right attitude and habits and ultimately become more confident and
Mm,
engaged in what they do more meaningfully. Also, without compromising but improving on their well-being.
mm,
So, so, so then with this, being through that journey actually caused me to become curious. And I found myself becoming more and more interested in helping youth improve their well being. So this started my journey on becoming a positive education coach.
mm. So, Marilyn, knowing you, I think you probably have explored many things in this curiosity, to satisfy this curiosity, but in the end, you decided that positive psychology is the answer.
Mm,
So,
mm.
why did you choose to focus on positive psychology?
The fact is, well, you are so right, Joy. Initially, I was thinking about education psychology, but at some point when I look at the what I will be actually focusing on is actually a lot
Mm,
more than the academic part of
mm,
learning, right? So actually, at some point, the one question that came to me that was very clear was that what exactly do children need in order to be truly successful in school? So I remember once that I read a book once from this Canadian American journalist, Paul Taff. He wrote a book, How Children Succeed. And in his book, he argued that possessive inborn intelligence and academic competency is not enough for children or for students to succeed in school. In fact,
mm,
um, grit, resilience, and other character traits should receive a greater emphasis in school. Now, having read that and knowing what positive psychology is about, and as we know, it is the science and the practice of improving well-being with a focus on positive events and influences in life. And so I asked myself again the next question then, so how can I influence more positively? And so I became excited. So using positive psychology to influence and impact learners through the process, It's not just helping them to succeed academically, but also to flourish individually. So, so to me, a learning curriculum that incorporates well-being not only helps prevent negative emotions or depression, but also promote creativity, develops one's ability to engage their strengths, increases one's confidence, foster learning, and even enhance academic achievement. So while doing so, I came to this curriculum idea that encompasses 5 P's. And that starts with positive thinking, and that is the self-awareness part, knowing your strength, goal setting, and believing that you can. And next, positive emotions. And this is the part where all students will need to overcome, and that is to manage their stress. Hence, the ability to identify, understand, and manage one's emotions. And next is
Mm.
about positive health. So the thing is, it is not just about studying stand alone, but it is also about our daily habits, the way what we eat, whether we get sufficient sleep, and the habits that we cultivate ultimately, right? And then this is where positive, the 4 P, the positive engagement that comes in, where students or learners start to gain that sense of purpose and meaning through their journey of learning and finally achieving positive accomplishment.
Wow, that's I love the clarity that you have, and you have like this framework, the 5 P's to guide your thoughts and your action as to how you want to go about doing your work. I think the
Mm.
5 P's are really helpful. So, um, how do you think? I'm just very curious. How do you think, like, maybe parents or other educators can adopt your 5 P's in the way they interact with their kids, or in the students that they support? Like, how do you
Mm.
think they can use it in a practical way?
Mm. So the thing is, it always starts with the right believing, yeah. So for
Mm,
parents and educators, I think we should first of all believe in our children. And many times I also notice that children they will go through a phase whereby they feel that they are not performing up to their parents or the teacher's expectations. So I
mm,
think when we can reframe that thinking with our children, so the way we speak to them is very important. So how we bring across our messages to them from an encouraging perspective, motivating perspective, or is it from a more like, okay, you should do this or you should do that. And many times among my students as an educator myself, to me, regardless of what the challenges or situation, I always believe that students will ultimately succeed. And with that, when they hear this kind of
mm,
messages, right, they start to feel more accepted for who they are and what they are. And it is not a surprise that to me also that they eventually move from what they cannot, they start to see what they can. And with that, the engagement will come in even more meaningful. And so for educators, one of the things that I always do is to help our students to understand why you are learning what you are learning. Most of the time,
mm,
as educators, we always say what and how, but we hardly say why are you learning this. So for me, in this journey, when I bring in why, students start to see, oh, so now I know because I'm with this, and that is the purpose that I will fulfill ultimately. So this will become actually a lot more meaningful for the students or the learners throughout the whole journey. And eventually, when they accomplish it, it is not just the grade. In fact, the joy is beyond grades even.
mm. I like the point where you say that we, besides the what and the how, we also need to show the students the why they are learning, what they are learning. Because I think I have also encountered before where young teenagers commenting about the curriculum or what they are learning in school, and they're like, "What's the point? I don't need this. What's the point of
Mm.
learning this?" So I think the sense of meaning and purpose, that is a big piece for that intrinsic motivation for them to want to excel better, to do better in their studies.
Mm. Exactly. Agree. Yes.
So so now I'm curious, what about on a personal level? How do you think
Mm.
you have benefited from positive psychology?
Wow, it's awesome. It's a wholesome, awesome. Well, I must say that I have fallen in love totally, entirely with positive psychology. I mean,
Yeah.
in the past, I hardly say life is a beautiful journey. But as I
Oh.
progress along with positive psychology, I really start to see life from a glass half filled perspective. And even when I face or encounter any challenges, well, I do not see it as a challenge anymore. I see it as an opportunity. This is really amazing how my mindset has shifted also. And the thing is, I have also become more aware of my strengths. And you know what? Some of them I don't even realize that I have them. And most the most amazing of all is I didn't even realize that I have been using my strength in some way or another.
Mm.
Yeah, so through this journey of discovering more about positive psychology, not only I become more aware of my strength, I also learned the way to put my strength into action. On top of this, I think I have also become more appreciative for who I am and what I have, focusing on what I can. In the past, I used to focus on what I cannot. But now, when I'm focusing on what I can, so life is really turning around from a very different perspective for me now. And even when I see students struggling with exams preparation and learning and all that, in my mind I never think that it's going to be difficult or impossible for them. To me, everything is possible because I believe.
Mm.
Mm,
So it sounds to me that so much is going on when you share about the benefits of positive psychology in your life.
mm, mm,
On the surface, it sounds like, oh, it's basically a lot about strength awareness. But I
mm.
also hear that you say that you are becoming more appreciative of who you are and what you have.
Yes,
So there is
yes.
also this sense of gratitude, this sense of
Mm,
a different mindset. Like I think, like earlier, I you mentioned about beyond the academic excellence, you also
mm.
want your students to be able to have that positive and growth mindset. And I can see that
Exactly.
that's because you experience it yourself based on your
Yes,
sharing.
indeed. Yes. and and
Yeah.
and I can say that well, I'm really blessed that I have chosen to walk on this path using positive psychology to impact and influence life. I'm really, really delighted about this choice that I've made.
Mm. So on that note, I think I'm completely with you. That's why we do the work that we do in different ways, but still supporting society. Okay,
Exactly.
so I think that our audience would love to have some real life stories. Do you
Mm?
have any real life stories to share? Okay, bring it on.
Okay, now the real life story. I think for me, having gone through with the learning journey with different students, right? I must say, firstly, I'm really proud of all my students who managed to overcome their challenges and have now actually become a better and positive individuals. Yeah. Now, as we know, students tend to struggle quite a lot to the journey of learning, and also especially when it comes to preparing for major exams.
Mm,
So, to me, when a student is willing to change for the better, they are like a gemstone to cherish. So it certainly had not been an easy journey, especially even for those who make the choice to start doing so in this path, right? So I have personally witnessed students who eventually became academically motivated,
mm,
attain greater cognitive engagement in what they are learning, what has been transpired to them, and best of all, they appreciate and enjoy learning. And this is what I've always been advocating. We are not studying for exam. We are learning to gain knowledge, and with that knowledge, we put it to greater use later on. So, of course, among these students, what I witnessed is it's also not a surprise thing that they also achieve higher grades, if not their dream grades. Yeah? And I'm totally
mm.
proud of them. And they were also more, rather better equipped for school transitions, like primary six to secondary school, and now enjoy greater satisfaction and success, not just in school, but beyond as well. So I think I mean, personally, it gives me so much joy when I see the transformation of every individual that I have walked through the journey together. And personally, I also feel that I just can't be thankful enough to see them grow in such flourishing manner.
Lovely.
Mm,
So, if someone is keen to use positive psychology, in particular parents and
mm,
educators who's very
mm,
new to positive psychology,
mm,
what would be your advice?
mm. I think I think first of all, it is good to know for them to discover their children's strength, because many times I think we always focus on children's weaknesses rather than their strength. I think to begin with, to know our children's strength, it really opens up a lot more positive pathways for us to move ahead with the child learning journey. So, so if a child, when we understand their strength, and that means we also can think about ways to help them to exercise that strength and be more connected with that strength and eventually use that through their whole entire learning journey. So I always say, knowing our children, nothing beats knowing their strength first, and then we can take progressive step from here.
Mm. I
Mm,
just wondering, would you be able to share an episode where you did specifically that you help a child realize that she has this particular strength, and then what happened after that? What
mm,
changed? Mm.
mm. So there is this also a 12-year-old girl. So she has this strength where she is very organized as an individual. So the thing is, when she's very organized, she hardly used that because she thought that, oh my God, everything is like a mess for her when it comes to PSLE because there's so much to prepare, so much to do, and exactly where to start. So I actually sat her down and said, look, you know you have this strength, but I don't think you have really activated it. Maybe in some small ways, but why not widen this further? So you have 4 subjects, and how we can make a schedule that will cultivate the habits of learning that will be meaningful to you and eventually lead you to the path of success.
Mm.
So when I managed to walk her through this, and there was this level of realization, and she thought, yeah, actually, I do it. I do have that strength, but I hardly use it, and I'm always worried about something. So when she started to embark on this, and she literally worked out a schedule for herself that works for her.
Ah.
Yes, and she did, and we walked through that schedule together, and we also make some changes to it as we progress along because things change, schedule can change, so that which is okay.
Mm.
But I could see that then she became more calm, more as she becomes more structured. So then she realized that, hey, I should really tap into my other strengths from now on. So that was a good experience for both her and myself. Mm.
Nice. Audience, can you hear like Mary Lynn's like satisfaction when she described what happened when she used this positive psychology intervention, creating awareness for the student to know about her strength, and then asking her the right question. You have this strength of organizer. Like, how do you think you can use this to help you better prepare for the exam? And she guided
Mm,
her, supported her in the schedule planning, but it's mostly action from the student
mm,
and tapping on the student's strength, creating the lens of strengths. How so now she have learned to use that, and she know that next time she can do the same thing
mm,
when the next round of examination come. She will remember her success with the strengths. Hey, I did that the last time, it worked. i can
mm,
i can do it now. That is definitely the kind of life skill that
mm,
Marilyn as a positive educator is providing for her students, that I guess in the classroom setting, they may or may not get it from the teachers.
mm. Right.
Hmm, beautiful. So, um, let's see. So you've shared earlier about the benefits that you have experienced as a result of PP. So we have hear quite a bit from Mary Lynn already, but today we have a treat for you. So don't just listen to Mary Lynn, right? She can share only success stories. Let's hear from one of her students what it was like to learn from a positive psychology influence educator in her academic journey, and how it has also supported her personal growth in general. So we have a guest for you, and her name is Min Min. So let's welcome Min Min. Hi, Min Min. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Min Min.
Oh gosh, so
I'm a
nice.
student.
You student of Mary Lynn. Okay, thank you for
Yes.
coming on the show. Thank you for activating your bravery to come on the show. We appreciate this. Your sharing is so important because then the parents and the educator can hear from the student themselves what it was like when they have positive psychology as well in their education. So, Mimi, can you start off by sharing how did you get to know Mary Lynn?
Oh, so I address her as Miss Lim. So
Muslim.
yes, Miss Lim used to be my English tutor, but now I see her as a mentor and currently a positive coach. So I've known her for about 6 years.
Wow, 6 years.
Yes, that's a very long time. Yes. We met when I was just primary 4, and she has been with me all the way to the end of my secondary school days. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So let's get right to it. So I'm going to ask you, what was the experience like learning positive psychology from Miss Lynn?
My journey with Muslim, I would say, was an invaluable one. She often likes to push me to my limits, wanting to stretch and maximize my potential. And she was very different from my past educators because I found that she actually cared about my well-being, and she wanted me to have that successful life. Whereas other educators, like other tutors that I had, like I found that they just only wanted results from me, not really caring about my well-being that much. So throughout the journey, she has taught me many skills, ranging from planning, reflecting, and just being more self-aware in general. She was also my listening ear when I stumbled upon any difficulties in my life. She would listen to them with an open mind, which I really, really appreciate, and would follow up with the best advice. She has taught me many life lessons too. I feel like there were two in particular though. One of them being, it is not always about the end result, but the learning process. The second one is, there are bound to be failures and downfalls, but the most important thing is to never ever give up. So the second one might sound cliche, but it's actually easier said than done. One memory that actually reflected the second statement was when I was in primary 6. So it's my PSLE year. So I'm generally more of a math and science person. So the English language subject was not the easiest for me. So I had to work extra hard to achieve those good grades. But despite those extra hard work I've put in, I failed my English prelim exam. Yes. So, however, surprisingly, I did not give up, which was surprising for me because I'm those type of person that thinks negatively, and I really did not really have much belief or confidence in myself. So I was really surprised because I felt like deep down inside me, I've not admitted defeat, and I wanted to continue the battle. And with the support of Miss Lim, who actually persuaded me and motivated me with a strong words of encouragement, I used that remaining willpower left in me to overcome that challenge, and eventually I achieved my desired results during the PSLE exam.
Yes, wow,
Yes.
lovely. Wow. I think that's what every parents want, right? For their
Yes.
child to persist on and not be discouraged. And it can be very difficult, especially when you know, that's not my strongest subject. You know, it's so easy for a student to say, let's just forget about it. But you persisted on because you had Miss Lynn as your teacher to support you. That's wonderful. So, Marilyn, anything you want to add to this particular episode?
Yeah, I think Mimin came a long way throughout the primary six journey. She is a resilient girl, and when I saw that in her, the thing that came to my mind was that I knew she will succeed. Yeah. So each time, to me is she actually went through that process of change that was actually quite tremendous for her as well, from negative mindset to start thinking positively and to feel confident about herself in achieving her desired goal. And you know what, when the result came, at the end of that year after PSLE, I was so proud and so happy for her. But you know what, it's not about the grade, but I saw the transformation in her that led her to this success. I tell you, this joy is just beyond words. Yeah, really beyond words. Yeah, and I would say she has done really well.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Oh, I'm like enjoying the connection that the two of you have. Just having this conversation with the two of you, I feel like I'm enjoying the positive vibes as well. And I think it's quite something for someone to be part of your learning journey for 6 years. Was it 6 years? That's a
Yes.
significant time. Usually you would just be with the mentor for 1-2 years and then you'll be a new one. So
Mhm.
was it your choice or was it your parents' choice to stick to Marilyn?
Mm, I think it was both, because I felt that after the transformation during my P6, I felt like I knew at the moment that Miss Lim and I were going to go a long way. And my parents could
Whoa.
actually see that also. Like they felt like Miss Lim was very different. She knew how to impact me, and I don't know. She just makes me feel better, and that sincerity could be seen from my parents, which was why Miss Lim has been with me all these years.
Mm. So do you have another incident that you can share with us, like Marilyn or Min Min, where something happened, there was some transformation, and the positive psychology element really came to life to support Min Min in her well-being and in her studies.
Mimi, would you
Mm,
like to share?
so actually, after the P6 stage,
Mm.
that I have to move on to secondary school. So there's another transformation because everything, because it's like higher learning already. So
Mm.
everything is like it came from 4 subjects to 7 to 8 subjects, and I felt really uncomfortable with the change because at that point I wasn't, because to change someone the mindset, it takes, I'll say it can take years. So having that 2 years with Miss Lim so far, because I met her in primary 4, so she has been with me to primary 6 and now to my secondary school days. So it's only 2 years, and that's actually quite fast for a transformation. If you think about it, where I have been I've been a negative person for for the past years since I was young, without me realizing actually.
Mm.
So that transformation was one of my biggest obstacle, and I couldn't like really socialize with people. I find I had another because I felt so self-conscious about myself, and I didn't really know how to, and I wasn't really proactive at all. Like I would just stay quiet and timid in my classroom, just sit at the back, like so. I didn't want to have any attention, and somehow Miss Lim just like brought that inner, how to say, the inner positive little girl, that brave girl in me. It was built up over time actually, and I just felt I couldn't I would not have been able to done that without Miss Lim.
So transiting from primary school to secondary school is definitely very challenging because different environment, lots of unknown. I remember I was scared when I had to go on to secondary one. I was like, oh, like, I think this is a really funny story. I was that uncomfortable. Mimi, I can really relate to you. I was that uncomfortable. I actually went to my principal's office. This is the primary school, and I begged him to let me stay back for 1 year. So I totally can appreciate your apprehension at that point. That was how much fear I had about the unknown. I was so uncomfortable. I wanted to stick to familiar ground. But actually, I passed my exam. I can go secondary school already. I didn't want. I rather stay back as if like I failed. So it was almost like terror. So I wish I had an educator like Miss Lynn to be there to guide me so that I don't have that fear and I didn't do the crazy thing that I did going to the principal office to request for extension for 1 more year. So yeah, I totally can apprehend how you're feeling. So Mary Lynn, what are your thoughts about that period of Ming's life when she was struggling to adjust?
Yeah. Mimin by nature is a habitual learner. So it takes time for her to adjust from one environment to another, from one shift to another. So to me, I saw bravery in her. She knew it wasn't going to be easy, but she actually moved forward, um, knowing that she may encounter challenges. And with that transition, of course, with every change, it dawned on her that about whether she will be able to overcome it, whether will she be able to do well also during her secondary school journey. But I remember telling her whatever that she has learned and gone through over the last 2 years, they are not going to be gone to waste. She can use the same technique again now, but now in a different environment through the secondary school journey. So I would say secondary one was really challenging for Min. I saw her how she struggled mentally, emotionally, and even physically as well. But you know, this resilient girl, she never gave up. Yeah. So come to when it came to Sec 2, she actually became better because she was more familiar. But the other change came about when she was Sec 3. So again, it was another transition from lower secondary to upper secondary. So with that transition, in fact, her whole secondary 3 journey was really, really challenging. There was lots of ups and downs, and she also encountered uncertainties about herself, her ability, and many things just came to her mind that affected her. Um, but what I saw in her was one thing for sure, she started adopted that growth mindset. Even when she failed a subject, she was not afraid to say, hey, that's just one time. It doesn't mean it's my grade forever. So she took up the baton again and she went on to fight this battle. And I would say that was really well done. In fact, her breakthrough came when she was Sec 3, after the whole Sec 3 journey during the school holiday in December. And that's when I saw that, wow, that breakthrough in her from a negative person, she really and truly has become such a positive person. And even at the time, I remember her mom went through an operation and she needed to be home for her mom. And in fact, I was a bit worried for her. How is she going to manage and cope with this? But you know what? Hearing from her, she was not only able to cope with it, but she did it so well, managed it so well, that to me it felt like as if there was no challenge at all for her. So with that transition, that breakthrough in Sec 4 was really a lot more a true Mimin that I saw in her, transformed Mimin that I saw throughout the whole journey that brought her success to where she is today. So I would say it's really, really very admirable to me, and for sure I'm so proud of her.
Wow, like my hair is standing as you share the story. I say, wow, Mimi, that's awesome. That's
Really awesome, right?
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that part where your mom got unwell, that must be difficult for you, and you're already in like upper sec. The stress of for upper sec students are very high. Would you want to share a little bit about that part? How did you
Um,
cope?
I just find because my mom had that problem that because her feet, she couldn't really walk properly, or she would feel a lot of pain in the knees. So, but then I found myself thinking that she'll get through this. I started thinking positively.
Mm.
I found like she's strong. She can do this. We have a good doctor. We have the time. Everything will be fine. I just thought to myself. I keep thinking to myself like that. Then she will be able to make it through. And thankfully, this period was during my school holiday, so I was
Mm.
able to cope better as I didn't have
Mm.
that heavy stress that's ongoing on when there's lessons and homework. So so I managed to pull through. And
Mimi,
I
I have
also
a question for
yes.
you. That was a
Mhm.
very challenging time, but Miss Lynn has seen how you have transformed. Entire year of Sec 3 was a big challenge for you, but she also see how you have transformed from someone who's very negative, as you yourself have described how you were before, to someone
Yes.
resilient and positive. So, what was the one big learning lesson that it came from that period of your life?
Mm, learning lesson. Uh, you mean during that period?
Yes. What did you learn about yourself because of that period?
Mm, I learned that we can we can achieve things if we believe, because we tend to have those negative um, thoughts and feelings, and we don't realize it, but we actually feel less motivated once we think of those thoughts, and we'll feel even more helpless than we already are, and we eventually start really believing that we cannot do this and we are that bad. But somehow Miss Nim, the way Miss Nim kept encouraging me, made me like her words of positivity somehow influenced me, and I just became positive myself. Like I started saying positive things that I can do this, I'm strong, and I guess that was the key element that for my transformation. Once we start saying
Mm.
positive things, we start thinking positively, and we start doing positive actions and making that change in our life.
Beautiful. So, audience, I think that you should send some hugs and thumbs up for Mimi. She's really awesome and being brave also to come on the show to share with you how positive psychology has been empowering her in her journey. So, I also want to highlight for those of you who missed out the front part, please watch the replay. That's how actually Mary Lynn started the show. That's the very first thing that she said. She said that it's all in the mind. It's about your mindset. It's about what you think. And then here, it's amazing to me because I'm hearing Mimi. It's almost like echoing what Mary Lynn says, that it's all in the mind. The biggest lesson that she learned from this challenge of taking care of her mom when the mom became unwell during the upper secondary school days. And to her, the ultimate lesson is I learned that we can achieve things if we believe. The moment she said that, I was like, isn't that what Marilyn just said at the beginning of the show? So that's truly amazing.
Indeed.
Okay, we're back. So sorry for the internet disruption. This is first world problem.
No worries about that.
Okay, so but we definitely the last that we left, that was a very heartwarming part. We were talking about I was talking about how Mimi starting to talk like Mary Lynn and talking about mindset, perspective, about at the end of the day, it's about what you believe in. So I think that's really amazing. And this is really like a live demonstration of the power of your mentor, the power of how your mentor can influence you and how you are able to cope with challenges and to be resilient. So, Mimi, thank you for sharing. That's very encouraging, I think, for students and other educator. So, I'm wondering, do you have any advice, Mimi, for maybe parents or for students?
Yes, I do have some advice. My advice is for someone who is interested to apply positive psychology into their lives for teenagers or parents or anybody is to start by doing positive activities that actually gives them the joy and even meaning in their life. So some possible positive activities can be finding a hobby, practicing meditation, or just doing simple things as keeping a gratitude journal. In the gratitude journal, you can just write down 3 things you are grateful or thankful for every day, or even write it once a week to get into the habit of doing so. This gratitude exercise was actually recommended by Miss Lynn to me, as it helped me relieve and let go those negative emotions that have accumulated over the years, or due to or scenarios such as being overwhelmed by stress, having conflicts with a friend, or even having trouble to forgive someone. Additionally, the gratitude journal helps me to focus on the positive events that have actually happened in my life rather than focusing on the negative. For example, when you're having an exam, like there's the exam period, we will keep focusing on that exam and how stressful you are. There's so many things to do, so many things to memorize and understand and catch up. And we forget to see, um, like for example, my mom would like take care of me along the way, especially during my exam period. And as I carry out this gratitude exercise, I would write those things down, where how my mom took care of me and how me and my friends support each other. I'll just write down those things, and it really helps me to cherish those moments and give my life more meaning.
Wow, Marilyn, how are you feeling right now?
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, wow, I literally see the fruit of my harvest. Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, because Mimin is willing and she really wants this change, and she came such a long way. So to me, is wow, it's really a lot of hard work, a lot of well, resilient for sure, right? In order to overcome the different stages of change as well. So I can only say I'm just so proud of her. Yeah.
So when Mimi was sharing, and thank you for the sharing, that those are really excellent tips. This is the first time in my life that I'm hearing a teenager recommending writing a gratitude journal. Normally you will hear like the positive psychology practitioner themselves, right? But to hear it from a student, that's like incredible to my ears. I'm like, whoa, it's almost like you have created a mini positive educator in Ming Ming herself. So it's really like I'm seeing the ripple effect here, the positive, what in positive psychology we call the upward spiral going on here. And you have definitely created an upward spiral. I'm sure not just in Min Min, but in many other of your students as well. So, I think on behalf of all the parents and educators, I have to say Thank you, Mary Lynn, for enriching and supporting and enabling our next generation. The work that you do is of such paramount importance, and clearly you're doing it so well. You're excelling. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Marilyn.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
So on this note, I guess the best person would be to ask Min Min. Min Min, do you have anything you want to say to Miss Lynn?
Yes, I actually do. Miss Lim, having the chance to receive guidance from you was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Like in my eyes, you are a superhero to me with so many and amazing capabilities. And being able to witness how you approach your life and how you overcome obstacles, because even for you, you do have obstacles, is truly unique and inspiring. You would always make what seems to be the impossible the possible. I've truly never met someone as genuine and honest as you, and also as wise as you. I'm forever grateful for the kindness and generosity you have shown me. You have truly made an impact in my life, and I can only say your teaching would follow me throughout my lifetime. With that, I really hope that all your dreams come true because you truly deserve it. And I know for sure that one day you will. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you, Min. I'm really humbled by what you just shared. And of course, I'm just as thankful, right, to have a student like you. Really.
Thank
Oh
you.
gosh, I'm loving this moment.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you, Min Min. I think also, I think oftentimes we kind of always accuse the young generation of not being grateful, but I think Min
Mm.
Min has demonstrated that that is not true. We
Yeah.
still have youngsters, young adults who understand the meaning of gratitude and who is still,
Mm.
growing and evolving positively. But that's
Yeah.
also made possible by positive educators like yourself, Marilyn. So thank you both of you for coming on the show, and like, it cannot be any better than I have planned. This is really an authentic flow of conversation, and we can see from Ming, your presence here really made all the difference. It's like I'm like interviewing two superstars in their daily life. It's amazing, and that's why I love doing this show, because it's so heartwarming. What's
Mm.
going on out there? And this show is
Mm.
also because we want to focus on the positive. We keep focusing on what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with each
Mm.
other, but this show is about, let's focus on something else. That's what's good about us, what's great about us. And the two of you are perfect demonstration of what's great about humans.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. And so at this point, I would like to recap some of the gems of wisdom from the sharing today. So, okay, so Marilyn started by saying academic success starts with having the right beliefs, and nurturing character strength should receive greater emphasis in schools. The 5 P's framework that Marilyn practices is positive thinking, positive emotions, positive health, positive engagement, and achieving accomplishments. Besides the what and the how, we also need to show the students why they are learning what they are learning. And Miming shared that, oh no, sorry, Marilyn shared that she had become more aware of her own strengths since learning about positive psychology. She also learned the way to put her strengths into action and being more appreciative of who she is and what she has. And she recommends focusing on the students or your children's strength instead of their weaknesses, and also support them by exploring ways to help them to use their strengths more. Miming says that Miss Marilyn was my English tutor. Then later I started to see her as my mentor. Today I consider her as my positive educator. Um, she also shared that Miss Marilyn listens to me with an open mind, taught me many life lessons, and is my listening ear. She cares about me and my well-being. And this is a really interesting statement that Mimi said. I knew that Miss Lynn and I were going to go a long way, but sincerity can be sin. And Mary Lynn also shared, I saw how Miming struggled during her Sec 1, but she never gave up. Miming started to adopt the growth mindset. Even when she failed, she continued to fight the battle. And the entire Sec 3 was very hard on her, but I saw how she changed from a negative person to someone resilient and positive. And Mimi said, I learned that we can achieve things if we believe. And she recommends for students to take care of their own well-being by doing activities such as like exercising and having a gratitude journal. Wow, did I miss out anything?
No. You have said it all, Joy.
I do my best to capture the accent. Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
So here, I want to share about a free gift that Mary Lynn has very generously offered. She is offering free analysis for your student or for your child for 5 students about their academic needs. So if you want to have that, please contact us. So at this point, I'm going to share about strengths challenge that we're having right now. Now, people who use their strengths are known to be 18 times more likely to be flourishing than those who do not use their strengths. And I think the entire conversation is a perfect example of what happens when you start to activate your strengths and practice strengths-based living. So what kind of a breakthrough would you have after 30 days of focused strengths training? And who would you become after 30 days of focusing on who you are at your best? So join us now for a 30-day strength challenge and be guided with resources to unleash your stronger self, activate strengths-based living, learn from other superheroes, be supported, and be held accountable for your inspired action. This is the first week of the 30 days of strength challenge, so join us soon. And here I'm going to share with you a short video on the strength challenge. Okay, so that was an awesome 1 hour we spent with Mary Lynn and Min Min. So thank you, both of you, for joining us today and sharing those amazing stories. So now let's end this show on a high note with our superpower pose. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Till the next episode. Be well, be strong. Bye.